So today we will discuss chapter number 3, fibers to fabric. So what is fibers? Fibers means the material which is used to convert it into fabric, and from fabric it is converted into clothes that we wear. Okay, so fibers are the raw materials which we need for making fabric. फैब्रिक मीन्स आपने देखा होगा जब आप टेलर के पास जाते हो, आपके मदर टेलर के पास जाते हैं तो वो पीस ऑफ क्लॉथ लेके जाते हैं. ओके, सो दैट पीसेस ऑफ क्लॉथ्स आर फैब्रिक दैट इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू क्लॉथ्स by the tailor by cutting it, by stitching it. Okay, so here we will study about the fibers. From where do you get these fibers, this raw materials to make your clothes? So let's see. There are two types of fibers, that is natural fiber and man-made fiber. So from where you get natural fiber? Natural fiber is obtained from plants and animals. Okay, and man-made fiber. What are called man-made fibers? These are the fibers obtained by synthesizing the chemicals in the factories and industries. So they are called man-made fibers. Now coming to our natural fibers, from the plants you get cotton, jute, coir. Okay, you have studied about this portion, that is natural fibers getting from plants in standard 6th. This year in standard 7th we are going to study about this, that is animal fibers. So which are the fibers you get from animals? You get wool and silk. So we are going to study this year about this. Okay, the man-made fibers are nylon, acrylic, polyester. These all are the chemically synthesized fibers, so they are called, we make it, so they are called man-made fibers. But we are going to discuss this too in this chapter. Okay, so fibers are converted into yarns. Yarns you have seen, जो आपकी मदर ऊन के जो गोले लेकर आती हैं शॉप से, that are called yarns, or the reels you have seen, the thread reels, so that are called yarns. So fibers after spinning are converted into yarns, and yarns वो जो ऊन के गोले होते हैं फिर आपकी मम्मी या दादी नानी बैठकर क्या करती हैं, उनको बुनती हैं, right? So they knit it or they weave. So after weaving or knitting, the yarns are converted into fabric. You can see when somebody is weaving the sweater, तो वो जो ऊन के गोले होते हैं उसको वो knit करके दो portion तैयार करते हैं, front and back. Okay, so that two portions are fabric. After that what they do, they stitch that two portions of the weaved cloth or fabric, and that stitching completes it and makes it cloth or sweater. Okay, so this is the basic process of converting fiber into clothes that we are going to discuss now. Okay, so now coming towards the natural fiber we get from animals. So first one we will discuss, that is wool. Now why is wool important and why we are studying about the wool? Wool keeps you warm in winter, you know that. Okay, how does it do that? Wool is a poor conductor of heat, okay, and it traps the air. Means जब आप स्वेटर पहनते हो तो आपकी बॉडी का जो हीट है उसको वुल या स्वेटर जो वुल से बना है वो आपकी बॉडी के हीट को आपकी बॉडी से दूर नहीं जाने देता है. So you feel warm when you wear woolen clothes. Okay, so that is the quality of wool, and we are going to discuss it. Now from where do we get wool? We get wool from sheep, yak, Angora goat, then Kashmiri goat, some camel furs, alpaca and llama. So the basic one is sheep and yak. Sheep और yak सबसे important होता है इंडिया में wool produce करने के लिए. So they are basically found in Tibet and Ladakh. Mostly yak का जो rearing है वो Tibet and Ladakh area में ज़्यादा होता है. Okay, then there is Angora goat. These are found in the hilly regions of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, then the Kashmiri goat. Now this Kashmiri goat, underfur of this goat is so soft, so good quality of fur they have, that the fine shawls, special shawls, these shawls are very good quality and very famous also. So these are called Pashmini shawls. You might have heard this word in your latest song of Dil Bechara also, this Pashmini word comes. Okay, so he is indicating about this shawl only. It is very good and fine quality of shawl. Okay, then some camel furs are also used for making woolen clothes. Alpaca and llama, these two animals are not found in India. They are found in South America, but they too have a woolen fur which can be converted into woolen clothes. Okay, so we will talk about the sheep. India mein mostly important one is the sheep. So let's talk about sheep. Now sheep have two types of hair, that is coarse beard hair and fine soft hair. So what do you mean by coarse beard hair? So these are the thick hair. जो आपने sheep अगर देखा होगा तो आप देखोगे उसका outer cover जो होता है, it is very thick. Okay, so that is a coarse beard hair, but the hair near their skin, उनकी skin के पास जो hair होते हैं, they are very soft, very thin. So that is used to make wool. That is taken out or extracted and wool is made from them. So now we understood about the sheep and what are extracted from the sheep. For the fine thin hair is obtained to make to obtain the wool fiber. Okay, so what do they do? The farmers which are involved in wool industries, or you can say the people which are involved for rearing extracting the wool, what do? They rear and breed. Rearing and breeding of sheep means वो sheeps को पालते हैं, वो उन्हें खिलाते हैं, पिलाते हैं और वो उनका ध्यान रखते हैं, so that they can collect wool from them. So here one term called selective breeding will come in your textbook. So what do you mean by selective breeding? Selective breeding is selecting parents with special characteristics so that their offspring or their child can have that special characteristic. So here what we do actually is we select the parents. Okay, like you have seen, अगर आपके father भी tall है और आपकी mother भी tall है, तो the most probability is that the child will be tall. तो यहाँ पर ये selective breeding करते हैं वो लोग. So that means, suppose parent A has soft hair, okay, soft under hair, like if they have soft hair on their skin, and parent B also have soft hair on their skin for the sheeps, then the chances are that, chances नहीं मतलब 100% ही है कि the child or the offspring will have soft hair. So that is soft hair. So what happens here? They want this child to have soft hair, so they will select the parents. Okay, so this is called a selective breeding, where parents are selected. Okay, rearing and breeding of sheep. Now what do they do after selection? They feed them. They take care of them during the winter season. Okay, so what happens for extracting the wool? Now here we are coming towards the process of converting fiber into wool. How this fiber collected is converted into wool. So first process is shearing. Shearing means removing of fleece. So what do they do after rearing and breeding? वो पूरे विंटर में शीप को कुछ नहीं करते हैं, वो सिर्फ उसका ध्यान रखते हैं, उसको अच्छा खाना देते हैं, so that they can be healthy and their skin. When you eat healthy, your skin is going to be healthy. Your hairs are going to be good. Okay. So same thing happens for the sheep also. They feed them properly. They take care of them so that their skin and their wool on the body is of good quality. Then comes the process of removing. Now this removing of fleece they do during summer season. वो लोग जब गर्मियाँ आती हैं तब ये करते हैं. Now what is the shearing? Removing of fleece. What is fleece? Fleece means the thick coat, the woolly coat that sheep have. आपने sheep को देखा होगा तो उसके बाहर के साइड पर आप देखते हो कि बहुत ही thick coat होता है बालों का, that hair, that wool. Okay, so they want that fleece in winter season for themselves to keep their body warm. So during winter season, the shearing is not done. The shearing is done during summer season, especially when they don't want this fleece. Now you will say कि टीचर फ्लीज निकालते होंगे तो शिप्स को हर्ट होता होगा. No, it doesn't hurt. It's just like when you cut your hair, you don't get hurt. When your father cleans his beard, he doesn't get hurt. Same thing is removing of fleas. So sheep don't get hurt in this process. Okay. Then comes after shearing, what is done? Scouring. Scouring means washing. वो जो fleas निकाला है उसको अच्छी तरह से वो पानी में साफ करते हैं so that whatever the dirt sheep was carrying on his body that can be removed. Then the third part is sorting. Now what do you mean by sorting? Now this separating the wool. This is mostly done in the industries. Wool को क्या करते हैं? Industry में भेज देते हैं and in the industry the wool can be separated according to its texture, color, length, quality. Okay. So it is like, okay, when your mother goes to the vegetable market, what do? She buy everything. Potato, vegetable, apple, banana, everything is in the bag. But what she do after coming home? She separates it, right? Fruits को अलग करते हैं, vegetable को अलग. Same thing is sorting. Sorting is the separating. But this separating is done on the basis of texture, color and length. So this is mostly done in industries. The fourth step comes cleansing of burrs. Now what do you mean by burr? आपने अपने कपड़ों में या वुलन क्लोथ्स में नॉर्मली भी देखा होगा, देयर आर अ फ्लफी बबल्स कमिंग आउट. कपड़ों पे अक्सर आप नॉर्मली देखते हो कि फ्लफी बबल्स कम आउट. सो दैट फ्लफी बबल्स आर ऑल्सो प्रेजेंट इन द वुल फाइबर. सो व्हाट डू दे डू आफ्टर सॉर्टिंग दिस क्लिनजिंग ऑफ बर्ड्स? अगेन दिस स्मॉल फ्लफी bubbles are removed, okay, so that its quality becomes very smooth, the fiber becomes smooth. After that comes dyeing. Now you have seen that the ships mostly have their wool of white, brown और black color. अब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हमें सिर्फ स्वेटर ब्राउन, ब्लैक और वाइट कलर के ही मिलते हैं. We get all the colors in sweater. So what they do? They do dyeing. Dyeing means coloring of the wool. These wools are then colored so that we can get sweaters of woolen clothes of different colors. Okay. At the end, after coloring, what they do? They do rolling. What is this rolling? Straightening. These wools are they use the machines to straighten all the wool and convert it into yarns, and these yarns are available in the market, or these yarns go to the industries to make woolen clothes. So this is the process where your wool gets converted into yarn, from shearing to rolling. So these are the 6 steps you have to keep in mind. So what is it? Shearing, scouring, sorting, cleansing of bubbles, dyeing and rolling. And your fiber, wool fiber is converted into yarn. From yarn, you after knitting and weaving, it can be converted into woolen clothes. Okay. So this is about the wool. Now we will talk about the second animal fiber, that is silk. So what is silk? As soon as you hear about silk, the word sericulture will come. So what do you mean by sericulture? Like the sheep are reared and breeded, same way in sericulture, the silkworms. Now you know silk is obtained from silkworms. So these silkworms are raised, breeded, that is called a sericulture. So sericulture means rearing and breeding of silkworms. वो उन्हें silkworms को पालते हैं और फिर उसमें से silk निकालते हैं. So there are variety of silk moth. Now silkworms, that is a process we will discuss later. So variety of silk moth. Now there are different varieties. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही टाइप का silk moth है उसमें से एक ही टाइप का आपको silk मिलेगा. You know there are variety of silk available in the market like moga silk, kosa silk, tussar silk and many more. So that variety depend on the silk moth. तो silk moth जैसा होगा वैसा वो fiber देगा और जैसा fiber होगा that can be converted into silk. So now we will discuss about the silkworm and its life history. Now let's discuss about the life cycle or say life history of silk moth and how we get silk from silk moth. Okay. So what happens here? The as I said, in sericultures, the silkworms are collected and they are feeded and they are reared. Okay, so what happens after they are kept together? So in a wooden box, so many silkworms are collected. Okay, I will share the link with you. You can see in that very nicely it is given. So they collect so many silkworms in them. Okay, so female silkworm lays eggs. Now these eggs are not one or two, hundreds of eggs are laid together. Okay, so female silkworm lays the eggs, then these eggs are given heat and these eggs get hatched into larva or caterpillar. So that eggs are converted into caterpillar, okay, after hatching. Now what happens? These caterpillars are given mulberry leaves. You know, silkworms eat mulberry leaves. So mulberry leaves are fed them and they keep for 20 to 25 days, they keep on eating mulberry leaves and they become very fat and thick and tired. So what happens? These caterpillars are grown in size. So this stage is called a pupa stage. Now they are ready for the pupa stage. So what happens? They eat and eat and eat for 20 to 25 days. They keep on eating the leaves and they are grown in size. Then they stop eating. Now what happens? For 2 to 3 weeks after they are grown in size, what do? They weave a net to hold itself. They keep on moving there. They start moving their head. Now they can't move much. Only their head moves and it moves in the shape of 8. You will see this caterpillar keeps on moving the head in the shape of 8 and it keeps on doing that up till 2 to 3 weeks. So what happens? What do they do? And what happens when this 8 in this 8 form? Actually, they secrete a protein, a very thin layer of protein and this 8 shape, and they cover itself in this 8 shape. वो ऐसे move करते रहते हैं अपना head and it keeps on doing until this 8 is completely covered like this. So what happens? This caterpillar covers itself in that thin layer of protein. Okay, and the caterpillar is inside that, and this oval shaped thing is called cocoon. So from pupa stage it is converted into cocoon. Okay, फिर इसके अंदर this cocoon, inside this cocoon this caterpillar वो 2-3 week तक ये काम करता है and it gets again, it is back to its thin shape. And then inside this becomes its egg again, and inside it the caterpillar gets converted into silk moth. Silk moth में convert हो जाता है. And what happens? It जैसे कि वो egg को break करके chicks बाहर निकलते हैं, same way this caterpillar after it is converted into silk moth, it breaks the egg, or you can say breaks the cocoon and flies away. Okay, now what is this cocoon? This is nothing but your silk fiber. Now what happens? The protein which it is secreting, when this protein comes in contact with the air, it is converted into a thread. This protein gets converted into a solid thing, and this solid thing is nothing, this is your silk. So what do the industrial people do? This people involved in the sericulture, what do? They collect this cocoon. And the processing of silk fiber starts. So that is another topic we will discuss. So up till here you understood what happens, how the silk moth is converted. Silk moth से ही start होता है. The female silkworm lays eggs, or you can say the female silk moth lays eggs. That eggs are hatched and converted into larva or caterpillar. Then that caterpillar grow in size by eating mulberry leaves. Then they stop eating and start weaving a net-like structure around them, and the caterpillar is inside that structure. That structure is nothing but your cocoon. After that, the caterpillar is grown, in turn converted into silk moth, and this cocoon is your silk fiber. So from this cocoon, now we will see how the processing of silk, now how it is converted into silk fabric. So that is your processing of silk fiber. So what do these industrial people do? They collect all the cocoons. All the cocoons are collected, okay? And then they boil it or they keep it in sun. So what do they do? All these cocoons are collected and boiled. So what happens when they boil? A thread starts coming. So silk fiber is separated. Then the reeling process is done. Reeling of silk, very fine thread-like structure is coming and the reeling process is done. Then the spinning and it is spun into a thread. वो जो धागे की रील होती है उस तरह से बिल्कुल fine thread आप देखोगे वो silk का collect होने लगता है. Then a weaving. Weaving means when you see any cloth, आप घर में भी अगर कोई कपड़ा पड़ा होगा, you will see, उसको आप थोड़ा सा ऐसे टाइट करके आप देखोगे तो what you will see, there are only threads, very fine threads, vertical and horizontal. Okay, so this is a weaving. हर एक कपड़ा थ्रेड को वीव करके ही बनता है. तो सेम वे weaving is done from the silk fiber and it is converted into silk fabric. Okay, so this way. So now you can ask a teacher, ये cocoons को boil करते हैं तो yes, in many industries they don't wait for the moth to come out. So they boil this cocoon along with the caterpillars and almost 1,000 to 3,000 caterpillars die in this process. That's why these silks are very costly. Okay, so this, otherwise if they leave it naturally to come out, so they have to wait long, but they don't wait in industries. So they boil with caterpillar and these caterpillars die many times for extracting the silk. So this is our process, life history we did, then processing of silk. So with the help of flowchart, let's revise once again. Cocoons are boiled and reeling is done, reeling, then spinning and weaving. So this is your processing of silk. So from cocoon to fiber, reeling process. From fibers it is converted into yarns or reels, you can say, that is the spinning process. From yarn to it is converted into fabric which are available in the market, that is called a weaving process. So with this our chapter gets over. So we discussed about the wool and silk and their processes to convert fibers into fabric. Students, please read the lesson for better understanding. Thank you.